As chief of the press desk, my work hours, my meals, my sleep became increasingly disturbed and chaotic. I saw little of my wife and children. Chip, my son, was at this time making periodic visits to a doctor in Dayton.
How's Chip?
I feel more hopeful with the new specialist. You look tired. Since you've gotten this new job, the children don't know their own father anymore.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I were back on the newspaper.
I was talking with Mrs. Collins today. She tells me her husband's cousin works with a man who swears he saw a flying saucer.
I thought I told you that term was taboo in this house.
Do you really think they might be from Mars or someplace?
Look, honey, don't you get like the rest of those screwballs that I have in my hair all day. Every time some kid flies a kite, 50 different people see spaceships. Come on, let's get to bed.
A few days later, the Colonel and I were talking over routine press releases on a new type transport plane, when suddenly the Colonel veered off at a tangent.
By the way, there's a magazine fella coming out here from New York to do a story. I want you to set up appointments with the people he'll want to see.
Right. What magazine is he representing?
Life.
What are they after?
He's going to write a piece about unidentified flying objects.
Are you serious?
Life was given clearance by the Air Force Commanding General.
How come?
When the General Staff makes a plan, they have the whole picture in view. We here at Dayton see only a smaller section. Pentagon has its reasons. Very good ones, most likely.
When the Life story breaks, we're going to have to fight our way in here through a milling mob of inquisitive reporters.
No, Al, you won't. You won't be here. Colonel Searles in the Pentagon has requested you by name. He wants you to join his staff in Washington.
Colonel, it's been swell working with you. But under the circumstances, I'll be delighted to get out of here.
Upon my arrival in Washington, I was assigned to Air Force Press Desk, room 2E765 in the Pentagon. My last official act at AMC had been to arrange the conferences and briefings for Life magazine. I was in Washington only a short time when Look magazine submitted the galley proofs of their saucer article to my desk. I put the Look article through to security review. Now I felt free to settle down in my new job. I checked in with the press section of the United States Senate, House of Representatives, and Department of State. I paid the required visits to the information departments of the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps. I covered the Civil Aeronautics Administration and other agencies with whom I would be working in close contact. By now, I figured I was through with flying saucers for good. But the Pentagon had other ideas. Because of my previous experience, I was assigned to unidentified flying objects. I was back in the flying saucer business. In the activity of setting up housekeeping and getting adjusted to the new job, I completely forgot about the Life magazine article. Also, I was able to spend more time with Chip. My son had been deaf in one ear since infancy, and it was difficult for him to play with other children. I had settled down to a regulated home life, but it was only a lull before the storm. On April 7th, 1952, Life hit the newsstands with the saucer story. The question, if anyone ever had any doubt about it, was forcefully answered. The public, America as a whole, had an intense, avid interest in the subject of flying saucers. The first few days following the Life story were chaotic. Naturally, my desk was an exposed point, and I was under an incessant barrage by newsmen. Shortly after the Life story, Look's coverage of saucers hit the newsstand. Their story featured a saucer map, including a statement by the commanding general, U.S. Air Force, Hoyt Vandenberg. Vandenberg stated,
"The Air Force is interested in anything that takes place in the air. This includes the aerial phenomenon commonly known as flying saucers. Many of these incidents have been satisfactorily explained. Others have not."
Project Grudge was expanded and augmented. The classified name Grudge was dropped. The new code name for the UFO investigative project was Blue Book. The general appointed Captain Edward J. Ruppelt of ATIC at Wright-Patterson as officer in charge of Project Blue Book. Ruppelt's department was designated as Air Phenomenon Branch, Air Technical Intelligence. At Ruppelt's disposal was a large staff of distinguished scientists, both military and civilian. One day, Major Dewey Fournay of Current Intelligence Branch sent for me.
Will you come in here a minute, Al?
Major Fournay was intelligence technical analyst and UFO monitor.
Thanks, Captain. Al, I just got a call from Captain Ruppelt. A Navy photographer named Newhouse has made a sighting near Tremont in Utah. He got some UFOs on film.
Motion pictures?
Motion pictures. This film should prove interesting on a comparative basis.
Comparative with what?
With the Montana film. ATIC's had it for some time over at Dayton.
You mean ATIC has had motion pictures? Why wasn't I told about it?
You're being told about it now.
Can I see these films?
Ruppelt has the Newhouse film. It's back at Dayton being processed and analyzed. But I can show you the Montana film. This film was shot August the 15th, 1950. It was taken in Great Falls, Montana by Nick Mariana. Immediately after we were notified of the sighting, we sent an intelligence man to get a first-hand report.
My name is Nick Mariana. For the past 6 years, I've been the general manager of a minor league baseball club called the Electrics. We play out of Great Falls, Montana, and are a farm club of the Brooklyn Dodgers. On August 15th, 1950, at Legion Ballpark in Great Falls, Montana, after a couple of hours in the clubhouse office, I went up into the grandstand to call the groundskeeper. As I reached the top of the stairway, I glanced northward to the tall Anaconda Copper Company smokestack to check the direction of the wind from the white smoke. Force of habit, I suppose, because our outfielders use it as an indicator on defensive play. As I looked up, I saw two silvery objects moving swiftly out of the northwest. They appeared to be moving directly south. The objects were very bright and about 10,000 feet in the air. They appeared to be of a bright, shiny metal, like polished silver. Both were the same size and were traveling at the same rate of speed, which was much slower than the jets which shot by shortly after I filmed the discs. Suddenly, they stopped. It was then I remembered the camera in the glove compartment of my car. I raced downstairs, yelling for my secretary, Miss Virginia Ronick. The distance from the top of the stairway to my car is about 60 feet, and I must have made that in about 6 jumps. I asked my secretary if she saw anything, and she said yes, 2 silvery spheres. I unlocked the glove compartment of my car, took out the camera, turned the telephoto lens on the turret into position, set the camera at f/22, picked up the objects in the viewfinder, and pressed the trigger. The discs appeared to be spinning like a top and were about 50 feet across and about 50 yards apart. I could not see any exhaust, wings, or any kind of fuselage. There was no cabin, no odor, no sound, except I thought I heard a whooshing sound when I first saw them.